So many of us are seeking a deeper understanding of the physical and unseen world around us, while trying to connect and understand ourselves. Seeking enlightenment, understanding of the paranormal, holistic options, whole body healing, the metaphysical, and finding a personal connection to a higher consciousness. Together, we will journey and seek understanding of our own soul's fulfillment and that which lies beyond the veil. If you found yourself here, trust this is the next step in your spiritual journey. Welcome to Soul Flight.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me on Soul Flight tonight. I'm very excited to be here. And I think we have a topic that really is kind of going to stretch around no matter where your thoughts are on the metaphysical or things, because I think this is really going to be a topic a lot of people can enjoy, not just people who maybe follow psychic mediums or the paranormal. This is really across the board topic. And so is our guest. She is fantastic. She is a host of many podcasts herself. Hi, Dina. Thank you for tuning in. She is an author. She's a teacher. She's an inspiration to myself, and I'm very lucky to call her a friend. Please help me welcome Kristina.
Hi, Stephanie. That's a beautiful introduction. Thank you so much.
Oh my gosh, I'm so happy. It's been a while since we've gotten to kind of sit down this way and talk, and I like connecting because I always enjoy our conversation. So I'm very grateful to have you here today.
I do too. We always seem to have some pretty deep, enlightening conversations.
We do. We tend to don't lose us people if we go down a rabbit hole. It happens, but sometimes you go where spirit takes you in the conversation.
Right, exactly.
So some of the viewers might not be very familiar with you, Kristina. Can you tell people a little bit about yourself and your passion, I guess, for advocating and working for spirit?
Yeah, absolutely. I have been a professional psychic and psychic medium for 23 years, I think now. 23, 24, somewhere in that neighborhood. I've lost track. So I do private appointments, and I also do public speaking. So I do gallery readings. I do channeling, trance channeling. So it's when I leave my body and someone else comes in to use my body to speak to people. I do a lot of holistic and paranormal conferences.
Yes.
And, metaphysical expos and that sort of thing. And so, yeah, I'm kind of out there. I'm an author. I have 2 books, both available.
Hi, Ellie.
Hey, ladies. Both available on Amazon.
Okay.
So you can find those there.
Absolutely. And I do want to share links later. I was a little behind today getting on, but I want to make sure after the show, I'll go back into the comments so you guys can check out some of those links and find Kristina. And hello, Salone and Ellie and Jennifer. Thank you so much for tuning in
hi,
today.
Ladies.
When you talk about, like the holistic fairs, you are one of the few who you travel in multiple states.
Yes.
And you go all over the place.
Yes.
Because I know for me, I just happened into hi, Wisconsin Caps. And for those of you who don't know, we are streaming, grateful to be streaming on the Wisconsin Caps YouTube page. So some of you may be tuning in for the first time going, who the heck is this lady? And hi, welcome to the show. I happened to stumble into the whole holistic thing by accident, but really once you get into it is a big platform. And where can people go to find, how do you get into, if you want to look at holistic options in your area or those fairs, where can you go to find that information?
Those are usually posted on Facebook. Some people have meetup pages. I no longer have a meetup page. It was just all local, and I'm rarely in the Milwaukee area for anything. So I got rid of my meetup page, but social media.
And you usually post when you're going to different places. I'm not that long ago, I think you were over on the East Coast. You're over there quite a bit.
Yeah, New York, upstate New York.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm sorry if one of my upstate New York friends hears this, they're going to correct me. Northern New York.
I love it. I love it.
It's the
And see,
northern region of upstate New York. How's that?
I
Yeah.
love it. That's my sister lives up there too. So
Yeah,
they can be a little particular. A
they
little
can.
particular.
They can. Yes. So I have been in the last year, I have done fairs or paracons in Illinois, Michigan, Minnesota, Wisconsin, and New York.
Yeah. And I love it because I feel like when you are trying to educate, which is a big part of your platform too, it's not just,
Yes.
and myself too, not just sitting down providing services, but really to educate people on the spiritual
Mhm.
world and our perspective. Michelle, oh my goodness,
Hi,
Michelle's a
Michelle.
wonderful person.
Yes.
So
I just
nice to
saw
see
her
her.
this last Saturday.
Oh, I haven't seen her in
Yeah.
probably over a year, and I
Yeah.
adore Michelle. She's such a wonderful person.
She had Halo at the event with her.
Oh,
So
that I love that dog.
I know,
I love
right?
that. I love talking to her. Um, and that's actually, a funny story. I was still kind of, and see, here's the rabbit hole,
Mhm.
very much in the closet, and I had gone to a fair over in Minocqua, I believe it was.
Okay.
And she had walked in and she had her dog. And I was just there, like at the fair. I wasn't a vendor. And I walked past and I went back like 3 times. And finally, I'm like, oh, this is going to sound crazy, but do you mind if I talk to your dog? And it was just so funny. And, it really started a great conversation and a great friendship because she's such an amazing open person. But yeah, so that's how I got to
Yeah.
know, can I talk to your dog?
And Halo's a very expressive dog too.
Yes, yes. Oh yes, there
Yeah.
was no way I was leaving that building without having a
Yes.
conversation.
Yeah, absolutely.
One
Yeah.
thing that I was really drawn to wanting to talk about today with you is, we're in this holiday season. And so many people, and I know myself, just working full time and dealing with the holiday stresses and then the personal stresses, and people
Mhm.
really kind of seem bogged down. I
Yes,
mean, everybody just looks so heavy to me, if that makes sense.
it
People,
does.
they don't make eye contact. A lot of people aren't smiling. And as, a spiritual advisor, I got to thinking, what kind of advisement, or I guess perspective, you can give to people that are dealing with, I hate to say the bah humbugs, but really it's just a very stressful time in our society.
It really is, and it is every year, I think. I deal with the bah humbugs by not dealing with it, I'll be honest with
Right.
you. I just don't. This year, I'm just not celebrating at all.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
we have a tree up, we bake the cookies, but that's it.
Yeah.
I'm not participating, and I apologize. I don't know how to turn those notifications off. I thought I did, and they're still
Well, I
making
can't
noise.
hear them, so you're
Oh,
fine. I
good,
can't hear
good.
them. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm
Um,
thinking about apologizing because I hear one of my kids walking around upstairs. I'm like, I hope they can't hear that.
no, I can't hear it. Uh,
Perfect.
dealing with the holidays can be really hard for a lot of people, and I know that this year, maybe it's because I'm tuned into it,
Yeah.
but a lot of people are having to deal with the first holiday without a loved one,
Yeah.
and I'm one of those people,
Right.
and, it's I like I said, I'm dealing with it by not dealing with it. I'm just
Right.
not going to play along and smile and nod, and I'm just not going to.
Right.
I am going to just be who I am and be that way, and, honestly, it's a lot less expensive.
Well, no, and and
And
I
that's a
think,
big stressor for people.
oh gosh, it is, wanting
Yeah.
to get, the right gift, or, somebody doing more for you and you not doing enough. But
Mhm.
I think, when you say dealing with it by not dealing with it, but you are, and I
Yeah.
think that's what we have to realize is it is okay. And I just did this the other day because I'm always the person that I'm fine and I'll show up and I'll smile or I'll put forth an effort when I
Mhm.
really don't have the effort. But I just the other day I said to my friend, I said, I see you called me. I just don't have the energy to talk to anybody right now.
Yeah.
And it, very different situation, but it's okay to say, I'm not in the mental space for this.
Right. I have said that to people a lot this year, where I
Yeah.
have just said, I'm just not in a space to deal with this. I really just need to conserve my own energy right now.
Right.
And people seem to understand that. It's like, can I
Nice.
call you back later? Because right now I just don't have the energy to have a conversation. And
Absolutely.
people have been really good about that. I maybe it's because I surround myself with good people. I don't
Yes.
know. But um I think for the most part, people have been pretty okay with that. It's really been just like Michelle is asking this question: how can we
Yeah.
support someone who's going through what Christina's going through? And for those of you who don't know me, I'm going through my first holiday season without my son,
Yes.
my oldest son. I still have another son who, of course, I adore, but that's not the point. We're all kind of going
Right.
through, none of us really want to celebrate.
Right.
So we have decided not to celebrate
Right.
and just honor him
Yeah.
for who he was and for
Absolutely.
who he still is, just not in a physical form.
Right.
And I think that the way that someone can support someone who's going through grief for the first holiday without an important person in their life is just to understand that they're not going to be who they normally are,
Right.
and just be understanding of that. Don't push. You can put out an invitation, but don't be insulted if they say,
Right.
I just don't want to, or I just can't. And, just really being understanding about that, and, put out the invitation if you feel like
Yes.
it's appropriate, because, like introverts, we still want to be invited.
Yeah. Oh, I get that. And that was
You
going to be a comment I had because I'm that way. I'm like, well,
know?
invite me. I don't really want to come, and that's just me. And that's one thing, I think a lot of times when we aren't having honest conversations like we are now,
Right.
people may not invite because they're afraid of causing an emotional response in somebody who's going through this, or they might really push because they're like, well, I don't want you to be alone. Instead of having, I think it's having that honest conversation and really saying, this is what I need.
Mhm. Exactly. And also to understand that we probably won't know even from minute to minute what we do
Right.
need when it comes right down to it.
Yeah.
Sometimes we're just not going to know what we need. And it's just been insane. Like the number of
Absolutely.
people who have left the planet this year
Yes.
has
Yes.
been crazy.
It really
And
has been.
yeah, my younger son just got back from a funeral for his girlfriend's brother.
Wow.
You
Oh,
know,
well, I
s-
extend my sympathy to him. Yeah.
oh, thank you. I will do that. Um, it's important to understand that, just treat us how you would want to be treated.
Right.
Treat each other how we want to be
Oh,
treated.
yes. Yes.
Treat each other how we want to be treated. And, sometimes it's okay to just let go and have fun. And I don't anticipate that I will be feeling what I'm feeling, at least to this depth, forever. I'm not
Right.
anticipating that. But the first year is full of a lot of firsts. And there
Absolutely.
are a lot of people going through the first year right now.
Yeah.
And
There
and
is.
I think the holidays are hard even for people who've had people that they love who have been gone for multiple years,
Oh, absolutely.
when
It's the memories and,
Mhm.
it's even going through, I don't know, we're a family where we have a very eclectic collection of ornaments that go on our tree. And even this year, pulling out some of those ornaments, one is a snowman that is made out of my grandmother's buttons after she passed away that my aunt had made. And so you do go through,
Mhm.
even though it's a couple years out, you still go through that emotion remembering that person.
Right, absolutely. I'm just trying to read what Salone wrote here.
Yeah. She says, I'm supporting a group that is taking part in relief efforts for a tornado that hit Tennessee over the weekend. And she tries to talk to others to encourage being oneself with how you feel and how others take your efforts.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. I know I saw that pop up in I think on my Facebook stream about the tornadoes in Tennessee, and what is it about December
I
that
don't know.
brings house fires and tornadoes and all kinds of weird stuff?
Right.
What is it? That energy, there's gotta be something with the energy coming into the holiday season that just sort of invites weird energy.
It's interesting you say that because I thought the same thing when I had seen about the tornadoes, and I'm like, "Oh,
Mhm.
it's 2 weeks before Christmas," or
Yeah.
and because you do see it, and I know it is more of a tornado season, I believe, right now in that area, but it's very hard because one thing I've learned, and maybe, you have some insight from the spiritual aspect, is there's so many things in our life where we think we have control, right? Or we think we plan, even like Christmas, we've planned for however long, and this is 2 weeks out, or you have these expectations,
Mhm.
and we really control is an illusion,
Oh,
you
yeah.
know?
Yeah.
And so many times our own expectations are actually what makes us feel like it's less of an event, or because we put such high expectations instead of taking it for what it is.
Yes. Absolutely, I couldn't agree more, and when you said about making plans, I kind of had a flashback to my early days in the 12 steps
Yeah.
where, one of the favorite jokes was, "How do you make God laugh?"
Right. Oh
And
no,
make a
how?
plan.
Oh, I like it.
Yeah,
That's perfect. Yeah,
right?
it
It
is.
kind of is, yeah, we can plan and we can very much execute plans too, but you still have to roll with it. You still have to roll with whatever comes up that you weren't
Absolutely.
expecting, and that's for everybody all the time.
Yeah, I agree. And I talk even to family and stuff about that, because I'm one of these weird people that I have like 4 plans for any given thing, right? Like, so I have best case scenario, worst case scenario, kind of in the middle, and then like, okay, if it goes sideways. And my husband laughs because he's like, you're just stressing yourself out because
Mhm.
really, you know, it's none of them could work, or you're worrying about things, and we tend to do that. We worry about things we can't control. And so for me, it's been important to learn to focus on, especially in those big emotions, what can I control in this moment,
Mhm.
to
Yeah,
try to let go of some of that anxiety.
right. And I don't know if anyone else has been feeling this. The last few days, I have been feeling really high anxiety,
Yeah.
and I don't normally feel it, so I'm thinking there must be something. I don't know if it's related to, like, the holidays or if it's something
The
cosmic
collective
or the
stress.
collective stress
Yeah.
or, is the sun throwing off extra radiation? What is
Whatever it is. Yeah.
whatever it is, I know I've been feeling over the last few days much higher anxiety, and every time I've said it, someone's like, "Oh, yeah, me too."
Yes. And I
Yeah.
just talked to somebody today. It's an interesting story, which made me I like having more moments of being grateful for learning to work with my
Mhm.
abilities. And today was really one of those days. I had somebody that I've worked with before, and they reached out to me, and I had just cleared their house because they had some stuff going on about 2 days ago, and they reached out to me, and they're like, "Oh, I don't know what's going on. What are signs of an attachment?" Because they woke up just feeling such high anxiety and so much
Mhm.
not like themselves. And so we talked about some things, and which we could talk about here too, but I want to get to the point of my story.
Right.
And I said to her, all of a sudden I got this flash. And when they had moved into this home, there was a young man who was killed by unfortunate circumstances. But he kind of she has 3 boys, and he kind of took her on as mom. And I always refer to him as her ghost son. And so hi Jackie, she would she has baseball cards out in the shed for him because he likes the baseball cards. So when her boys were done, she made sure she saved them. And that's kind of his room. The shed is his space. And she says that she's having all this anxiety, and I instantly saw him. And I said, I think this is something going on with your ghost son. And she's like, my boys put salt around the shed when they had things going on. And so I'm like, ooh, go fix that salt so he can get out there. I'm like, he also would like chocolate and new cards for Christmas. But it was very
Yeah,
interesting. She always says she has no abilities, but how tuned in and how quickly she tuned in to that increased feeling in anxiety.
right. Right. And that's something I think a lot of people don't think about is that anxiety can be a form of intuition.
Yes. Yeah. We just look at it as it's a medical term now, right? Anxiety.
Right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But how many, I mean, if you think about it, how many terms really are intuition? People will say, oh, it was a gut instinct. Intuition.
Intuition.
Yeah.
Yep.
I had a hunch. Okay. You're intuitive. I don't know why people struggle with the word intuitive when we say it in so many different forms throughout
Right.
the day.
I have goosebumps.
Yeah.
Intuition.
Right. Yeah, you'll be talking to people and they'll say, "Well, I don't believe in the paranormal, but I walked into this room
Hi,
and
Erica.
hey, the hair on the back of my neck stood up." Intuition.
Intuition.
Yeah,
Yes. I mean, at the very least, your body is a barometer for shifting energy, right? It's at
absolutely.
at the base, very bottom level. Your body is at least a barometer for shifting energies.
It is.
That's why we get those sorts of things. My favorite one, this is my favorite one. Oh, that's just common sense. Well, you might think it's common sense because it
Right.
makes sense to you, but
Correct.
you're the only one who got that message.
Correct.
You
Correct.
know?
I like that one too.
Yeah.
Yes.
That one
Uh,
always cracks me up.
but I don't think people realize, and this kind of clicked into me quite a few years ago, but we have intuition and we have all these ways that we've changed how we flag it. But if you think about to humans in basic survival, and
Mhm.
we didn't have Google Maps, you had to say, I think I should go left. I feel like that's the right way to go. We didn't have the tools that we have in society now to rely on. So we kept ourselves safe. Fight or flight, that fear response, that's all part of intuitiveness that we had to
It
have
is.
to survive.
It absolutely is. Unfortunately, it seems like some of those things that hang on that we don't need anymore,
Right.
they become problematic.
Yes. And how
Hence
do you think
anxiety.
you release those? Do you think that is something collectively, when you're looking at past lives or things that we carry forward that no longer serve us,
Mhm.
how do we unplug from those?
I think the first step is to recognize it
Oh, I
for what
agree.
it is.
Yes.
If you don't know what it is, you can't really let go of it. There's no way to really understand it.
Yeah.
If you haven't figured out what it is or you can't identify it, it's hard to let go of it because that survival brain is going, you can't let go of that. We still need it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
So
Correct.
if you can identify it and go, okay, logically, do I need this or do I not need this anymore?
Right.
And if you don't need it anymore, you can toss it out and you can make the
Yes.
conscious decision to not have that anymore.
Yes.
But if you don't identify it, the lizard brain is still going,
Yeah.
nope, nope, that's a safety issue. We need that.
Yeah. And I like
Yeah.
that, and I don't know, if a lot of people, when you're referring to the lizard brain, because I didn't know for a long time. And then I had read a book about the Pleiadians. I can never say it right.
Pleiadians. Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. My
And
friends, I channel them.
do you really?
I
That's
do.
awesome.
Yeah.
I love that. And, reading that, but somebody had told me, I was struggling with some stuff, and they're like, read this book. I never have had such resonation within myself as when I was reading things in this book that just clicked, just like
Right.
plugged in out of nowhere. And that's one of those things when you talk about the lizard brain and the involvement of Earth and things that went on here. It's really fascinating to people out there, to pick up a book about some of this stuff.
Right. And lizard brain, just to clarify a little bit further, it's the part of our brain that is hooked into survival, physical
Yes.
survivor. That's really what the lizard brain is. It's just hooked into survival. I think that's a little bit different than what we would call the monkey mind that just takes ideas and plays with them.
Right. That's my mind as a hamster wheel.
Yeah.
That's basically
Some
what's going
days.
on up there. A lot
Yeah.
of squeaking, guys. Squeaking and turning. That's what's going on up there.
Yeah. Let's get some WD-40 on that wheel.
Right. Right. I'm getting better at quieting the hamster. It's
Me too.
just, it takes a lot. And I do like in my studies, and when I first stepped into figuring out my abilities, I met a lot of people who were this is what meditation looks like, and it was a box. And
Mhm.
meditation in that form does not work well for me. But as I've studied and looked out into the scope of things, I've realized for me meditation takes a lot of different forms,
Oh,
listening to a
absolutely.
drum beat or dancing. It's just a different way that I clear my mind.
Yeah, same here. My favorite meditation is just walking in nature.
Yes. Yes, I agree. And there's times I remember my husband coming home and I'm laying out in the grass, and I don't wear shoes. Once the snow melts, I never have shoes on unless society requires me to have shoes on. And I'm
Right.
just laying out in the grass and he gets out of the truck and he's like, "Rough day." I'm like, "I'm fine." I'm fine. I'm just
I'm
going to lay
fine.
here. I'm fine. But yes, that connection to nature, it really
Mhm.
is a big part of my meditation too.
Yeah, it is for me too. Walking through the woods or getting off the cement. I think that's the biggest part for
Yes.
me.
Yeah.
Getting off the cement, and even if I do have shoes on, getting in the dirt, getting in the
Yeah.
grass, getting in the sand, the beach,
Yes,
hearing the,
absolutely.
I'm very blessed. I live 10 minutes from Lake Michigan.
Yes.
So I can go there in literally 10 minutes. I'm on a beach on Lake Michigan, and it
Yeah.
doesn't matter what time of year it is.
No, it
Because
doesn't.
that lake doesn't freeze. You still get the
Right.
waves. You
Right.
still get the waves. You still get that sound. And for me, that is just paramount to my mental health
Mhm. I
to
get
be
that.
able to get out in nature.
Yeah. And I wonder, for those of you tuning in and listening, we've covered kind of quite a few topics, but if there's any of the topics we've covered, you have questions on or different topics, please throw them out to us. We're more than willing to go down a rabbit hole with you.
Oh, yeah.
I do want to take a quick break and we'll be back in just about 2 minutes and 9 seconds. That's
Okay.
how long it's going to take. We'll be right back.
About.
Are you interested in the paranormal, ghosts, spirits, and the metaphysical? How about Mothman, Bigfoot, and other cryptids? What about UFOs, UAPs, and other anomalous phenomenon? Then you need to check out Cryptids, Anomalies, and the Paranormal Society. We have all that and more. Watch our series Caps Road Trip, where we travel across the U.S. in search of these phenomena and bring you not only the history of these locations, events, and encounters, but evidence that we capture along the way. Alongside our team of researchers and investigators, you never know who will be joining in on the investigations. Are you interested in Bigfoot in Upper Michigan? Check out Finding Heighton, a series documenting the Sasquatch activity on a very special 80-acre property just outside of Menominee that has been a hotspot since 2012. Want even more? Check out our podcasts. Whispers from the Dark is the official podcast of Cryptids, Anomalies, and the Paranormal Society and brings you interviews with the top names in the field of paranormal to cryptids and more. Hear witnesses' accounts and go in depth with the CAPS team to hear more about our ongoing research. Are you more into cryptids? Find links to our all cryptid show, Monsters on the Edge, on the Untold Radio Network. If you're into spooky, subscribe now and you won't miss a minute of our brand new series coming soon, Spirits of Macville. Follow along as we uncover the haunted history dating back to 1877 of a very well-known location you may have never guessed would be haunted. Head on over to YouTube and hit that subscribe button and you won't miss a minute.
All right, everybody, welcome back. I'm so glad I didn't mess that up. So glad. I was very worried, people, because as you know, we've been able to rely on Todd when we were back on WLTKDB. And so it's been a little bit of a learning curve manning it over here myself and trying not to break anything. And Kristina was gracious enough to hook up some links. So I want to send over the link for YouTube, or not YouTube, I'm sorry, for Amazon for your book,
Right.
Intuitive You.
I have 2 books that I put in the private chat because I couldn't get them in the comments section. It's Intuitive You, which is the textbook for the beginning level of the psychic development program that I teach.
Yes.
And the other one is Wisdom for the Age of Ascension, which is 150 separate, like, you read it as a meditation.
Right.
Like, you can read it and then meditate on it. Yeah.
Oh, hi, Jamie.
Jamie
Oh, thank you.
Lynn.
She's so nice. I love
I know.
Jamie.
Me
I
too.
accidentally met her when I was at the Michigan Paracon, and I'm, walking through, and I'm horrible because I don't really know who a lot of people are, like the big names and stuff. And so I'm just
I don't
walking through.
either.
No. And I said hi as I walked past, and then I'm like, wait, that's Todd's book. Wait, that's a WLTKDB, whatever she had on her table. And so then I backed up and I'm like, hi. And I'm like, the station? And she's like, yeah. And at the time, it was Chat with Charlie. So it was really nice to meet her,
Mhm.
in person. That was fun.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. Michelle
Thank
says,
you, Michelle.
yes.
Thank you.
So when your intuitive you,
Mhm.
how does that work with somebody who's maybe looking to hone their abilities or to understand things in their life and their intuition?
Well, it's when I wrote the book, it was under the premise. First of all, the whole thing is automatic written. Like it's channeled writing,
Right. Okay.
right? The whole thing beginning to, I mean, the whole program, and that's only a third of the program. But we start out by talking about the different ways energy works, the different forms of intuition and psychic ability, all the clairs,
Okay. Yeah.
how to use energy, how to manage your own energy, to pull it
Right.
in, to push it out, and then the difference between managing your own energy and using your own energy to manipulate an outcome. So like
Right.
Reiki is a really good example of
Absolutely.
manipulating energy because you're pushing energy to somebody else. I mean, it comes
Right.
from the universe, but you're
Right. You're
pushing it through
channeling it.
somebody else. You're channeling it through to help other people. Oh, thank you, Jamie Lynn. Um, so and that book also, what we do is we play with some toys, right? So we
Okay.
pull out tarot cards or
Right.
oracle cards. We pull out pendulums. We talk about vibrational healing with drums and singing
Right.
bowls. We use visualizations for different things,
Yeah.
different ways to do readings, psychic readings, different ways to connect and disconnect from people so that it's
Right.
intentional and not enmeshed,
I like that. And I
which is
like
huge.
how you talk about different ways, right?
Mhm.
Because, I feel like sometimes, and I've seen this where you might work with different teachers and this is the only way to do this. And really, there's so many different ways.
Mhm.
Spirit has made us all so different for so many different reasons that we have
Right.
to embrace and realize there's different ways to those outcomes.
There really are, and some people might do really well with visual things, where
Right.
other people do really well with auditory things.
Right.
Some people are claircognizant, stuff just pops in their head, they don't know where it comes from, they just
Right.
know
It's
stuff,
there. Yeah.
you know?
Right.
So,
Oh,
I
Michelle says, I love how you taught us how large our energy field could be.
yes, that is huge.
Yes.
It's really important to understand how big your energy field is, how far out it goes from you. And
Yes.
that's in all directions. You are always right in the middle of your energy field, right?
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
if your energy field is going out 30 feet, that's 30 feet in all directions.
Yeah.
Everybody who wanders within 30 feet of you is going to leave an energy trail in
Right.
your energy, and they're going to take some of yours.
Yes. And we wonder
So
why we're so depleted because so many people just we're walking around completely out there and we don't understand where's all of our energy going? Where's, all of this happening,
Right.
and
Right.
calling back your energy.
Mm-hmm.
I had never thought about that. And actually it was Ellie, and I was telling Ellie, I'm like, oh, I'm so tired. She goes, well, do you ever recall your energy? And I'm like, what? She's like, well, the unused energy, do you ever call it back? And I'm like, oh, I never thought about that. But now that's
Right.
a pretty normal practice for me.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, hey, I
Yeah.
need this back.
Yeah. It's one of the things too that's been paramount for me to learn personally is like if I wake up in the morning and I'm just can't pull my act together,
Yeah.
it's because part of me is still out there in the universe somewhere doing something, learning something, working on something, and I need to be able to call that back to be able to function.
That's really interesting that you bring that up, because that's probably one of my biggest struggles in the morning. And I am one of those
Yeah.
people where my alarm goes off, and I set it early. My alarm goes off at about 3:45, and I probably hit snooze twice before I actually get out of bed. And
Okay.
I'm one of those F-bomb, my alarm's going off. But I feel so disconnected
Yeah.
from my body, and so that actually makes a lot of sense to me.
It does to me too. And, maybe one of the ways it would make it easier for you is, drop your F bomb, hit the
Right.
snooze button. But after you hit the snooze button, start calling your energy back.
Yes, I'm going to try tomorrow morning,
Yeah.
Christina. You're going to get a message from me, so turn your volume
Awesome.
off, because I know you sleep way later than I do. Most
Right.
people do. But I'm going to message you and be like, "Hey, it worked. I got out of the bed after the first alarm." Not after
Wow.
the second or third.
Right. Well, and maybe it does. It's some days it's more effective than others. Let's
Oh,
just put it
sure.
that way,
Yes. No. And I come right to the coffee pot. So maybe if I can get half of me back and a full cup of coffee, it'll be much better.
There
Much
you
better.
go. There you go. And, we all travel in our sleeps, you
Yes.
know? We all travel in our sleep. And my bestie, Rez, he's great
Oh,
because,
I love Res.
yeah, when we're texting back and forth and chatting about whatever, and I'll be like, "Dude, I'm tired." He's like, "Sweet dreams and safe journeys or safe
Yeah.
travels,"
Yeah. I
because
love
he
that.
understands we travel in our sleep.
Oh,
And,
absolutely.
it's really important to just really cut ourselves a break. Let's
It
show
is.
ourselves some grace. And I
Oh,
think if we
yes.
can show ourselves some grace, it'll be so much easier to show other people some
Right. To
grace.
roll that over. If we're not
Mhm.
kind, and that's a very valid point. We talk so much about affecting kindness and putting kindness out into the world. But most of us
Mhm.
can't stop the negative self-talk.
Right.
Kindness starts with ourselves.
It does.
Yeah.
I mean, we can still put kindness out. It's just not as
Right.
effective and it's not as
Right.
much if we aren't actually carrying it within ourselves.
Absolutely.
No.
Absolutely.
And sometimes I don't know about you. I can only speak for myself. I went through years where I could be kind to anybody but me.
Oh, yeah. And I have a hard time even now. I struggle, and I noticed this, and actually it was very present to me over this past weekend where I was, because I had ended up doing a couple of readings for people, and I can't take a compliment, even in them saying thank you. And I'd find myself putting my head down and just, you're welcome, kind of thing. And it was interesting because I became very aware of how I was responding to their thanking me and having
Mhm.
done that. So yeah, we have to give ourselves that grace, and it's okay, to accept compliments. I struggle to take compliments.
Right. Yeah. I don't struggle as much anymore, but boy, there was a lot of therapy involved in that.
Yeah. Yeah,
A
I can
lot.
imagine. I just
Yeah.
pretend I don't have a problem.
How's
That's
that
where I'm
working
at
for
right now.
you?
It's all right. It's
It's all
fine.
right.
What do you
It's
mean I don't have a
fine.
problem? It's fine. Ellie says it's easy to bring back crap with us when we travel while sleeping, which is also true.
Yes, it is. It is,
And that's
especially if we don't remember where we've been.
right. Right.
Then we
And
don't
I'll tell
know.
my children too, like even when they were little sleeping, and I would kind of the same thing. safe travels, and just
Mhm.
trying to
Yeah,
get that understanding, because we wander into many, many places.
right. And we're not doing it consciously because we're asleep.
Right. And it's interesting, and I wonder if you've probably had similar conversations. But like, I'll talk to people, and so many people will tell me about these weird things happening at night and all this stuff going on, and have no clue they're really astral projecting. They
Right.
have and you try to explain it to them, and they look at you like you're crazy, but it's really so many of these things. And I'm like, "No, you have abilities. You've got stuff going on."
I think we all have abilities, and my intuitive view
Absolutely.
program is written completely around that because
Right.
level 1 is just to help people recognize how their abilities work.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, Michelle, we're going to say thank you because she
Thank
said
you.
you are both amazing.
I was trying
Thank
to
you.
ignore the comments, but
I know you were. That's why
thank
I
you,
pointed it
Michelle.
out. Michelle's pretty amazing herself.
She
So
is. She really is.
actually, there's everybody in the room is amazing.
Yes, yes. I know. I'm
Yeah.
just so excited to see all these familiar names coming in, and just how
Hmm.
much these people have meant in my journey, and I appreciate all of them.
Yeah. Me too.
Yeah.
Me too. It has been this human life. I don't know about you, but I think that we tend to get down not only on ourselves but on humanity as a whole.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
And more I'm starting to understand that that is really part of what's causing all these problems in the world.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. Yeah.
Yeah. I think
And oh, go ahead.
I was going to say that's what my live was on last night, the magic of
Okay.
being human.
And which podcast was that on last
That's
night?
just on my live feed
Okay.
on
Because you
my
have a bunch of
page.
podcasts too. You go
Yeah,
live quite a bit, and
I
you have
do.
podcasts. Where
I'm
where can we
everywhere.
find you on all these? You are. I'm telling you guys, you got to find her, because she is amazing. And one thing that we didn't talk about either is the Akashic records, which fascinate me. That's on my list of
Yeah.
things to try to work towards, because I've been in the room and just not sure how to get back there. But it fascinates me how you connect into those records and do those readings.
Yeah, that's a lot of fun,
Yeah.
actually. It's really interesting how Kristina Bloom, your spiritual advisor. Yes, that's the page. That's my
Yes.
group. It's a
Yes.
private group. You can request to join it if you haven't already. And that's where I do my Tuesday night live.
Perfect.
So I keep it within that group. It's so much easier to keep control of it. And
I
I
bet.
don't, without even being controlling, it's like I just need to know where it's going to be.
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So podcasts. Wow. All right. So
Do
uh
you have them listed out? Because there's quite a
I
few.
wrote them down. I wrote them down
I
because I
love
didn't want
it.
to forget any of them. So the main one that is I mentioned my buddy Resnick,
Yes.
and he and I have a podcast. We have I think 6 episodes. They're all out on YouTube. Well, there's one dropping tomorrow night too.
Perfect.
Thursday evenings or Thursday afternoons at 4 p.m.
Yeah.
we drop a new podcast, and that's on the Red Road Paranormal YouTube page. We do have a Podbean. I'm still trying to
Yes.
figure out how to do
Oh, I
Podbean.
can help
So
you with Podbean. I got Podbean
awesome,
figured out. I can help you.
awesome,
And for
awesome.
people watching on the Caps channel, they know Rez, because he's also a Caps team member.
Yes, yes, he is.
So, if you guys are tuning in from Caps, you got to hop over there. If you haven't already found Rez on there and
Hmm.
Kristina, you definitely have to do that.
Yep, it's a show that's based on paranormal lore, legends, hauntings, supernatural, all of that stuff that originates with Native America, and it's also an
Yes.
educational because we teach a lot of about Native American customs and how the different tribes have different customs.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of people are under the impression that there's one thing that's Native American, and that is
Yes.
so not true.
And something, I mean, and not, I'm going to go down a rabbit hole here,
Good.
but I wish, because I have a draw to me with a lot of the Native American culture really resonates with me, and it always has. And as I study things and I look into things, I don't think people here realize, right? So we look in the history books and we see the historical boxes that indigenous people
Mm-hmm.
are put in, and we're told really they didn't have a lot going on before we got here. Whoo, we saved them. Great. But when you really look at this, I mean, they had massive, things going on, big cities, and, all this history
Mm-hmm.
that is just lost, and it's just everywhere, right? It's just
Right.
everywhere.
Right.
And it's so sad to me that we haven't reached a point where we want to completely understand the totality of that civilization. Does that make sense?
Right. And
Be-
and understanding it's multiple civilizations.
yes, absolutely. Yeah, it was,
Yeah.
like what we call states and cities. It was all these different things. And Caps is saying Red Road Paranormal also has a playlist on the Cat YouTube channel so that you can watch it and find it
Caps.
there
Yeah.
easily. Yeah,
Yeah.
Caps.
We are connected to the Caps channel.
That's awesome.
Yeah. We will also be connected to my own channel as well.
I love it.
Because I do have a YouTube channel. There's just nothing on it. So
Mine
all of
either.
these will eventually get onto. Yeah. And Jamie
Yes.
Lynn, thank you for sharing the link. I do appreciate that. There's another one that I am on. It's called Apps Alchemist, APPS Alchemists. And Apps is Adirondack Park Paranormal Society, and that's the group I belong to.
I love it.
So based in Northern New York, and we have a podcast that releases on Saturday mornings. I believe it's 10 a.m. Eastern, so that would be 9 a.m. Central.
Yes.
Okay. And then there's the Soulful Sharing Circle. I'm
I
not
love it.
exactly sure when that one releases, but
I
you can
love
listen.
it.
You can listen to it on the Clubhouse app.
Oh, I haven't heard of that app yet.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if you happen to be available at 10 a.m. Central on Thursdays, you can go into the Clubhouse app and join and be part of it. It's like an open format.
Forum? Oh, I like that.
Yeah, it's an open forum and anybody can join the conversation, and we just have a topic every week. So
Oh, that's very
tomorrow
cool.
morning, 10 o'clock, if you've, got nothing
Do you
going
know
on.
what your topic's going to be yet?
You know what? I think she just posted it. Hold on just a second here.
Yeah. So people could then kind of ruminate over what they want to discuss tomorrow.
Let's see. Flowing with life is tomorrow's
Ooh.
topic. Yep.
Yeah. That kind of fits in with the holidays too. Just
It does.
flowing with
Yep.
what's going on around us.
Yeah, flowing with life is tomorrow's topic. So if you want to jump in on that conversation, we invite everyone who comes in to speak. You don't have to. It's an
I love
option.
it.
So
And that's a
yeah.
great thing about some of these platforms and just having
Mhm.
conversations is because a lot of people don't know where to go for safe communication.
Oh, the SSC, which is also Soulful Sharing Circle.
Okay.
We have a Facebook page. Find your tribe.
Wonderful.
So
I love
yeah,
that.
you can. Jamie Lynn just posted that. All right. So my next one is From Beyond. I'm only on that one once a month, but it does release every Monday.
I love it.
And I co-host with Glenn Bottis out of England.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah. So it's actually his show. It's his radio show.
Okay.
But it's also on his Facebook page. Or not.
I love it.
Yeah, it's on his Facebook page and it's on his YouTube channel.
Okay.
And that one is called From Beyond. And again, I'm on there one Monday a month. And then I'm starting a new one because, I didn't have enough to do.
Right. Right.
Can't get bored. I cannot let myself get
I
bored.
was going to say, you don't sit still well, do you?
No, I've always been pretty antsy.
Yeah.
But my new one is, again, I'm collaborating with my friend Bobby Klebano, and she and I are it's just kind of two older ladies with some life experience talking about stuff.
I like that
Yeah.
because there are things I wish somebody would have told me,
Yeah.
like things.
And
And
we
so
will
I
be
like that.
welcoming comments, and we will be welcoming suggestions for topics.
I
What do
love
you
that.
want to know about?
Yeah.
That sort of thing. And that is called, I love this, Breakfast with Bobby.
I like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we have been having breakfast together like once a month or so for, I don't know, years.
Yeah. That's
Years.
awesome. I like that.
So, yeah, and we are launching that one on January 21st at 7 a.m.
All right. We're going to watch
So,
your page for more information.
yes.
I love it.
Jamie
So
Lynn can't keep up with me,
I
apparently.
know I saw
I'm
that. She's like,
sorry.
I can't keep up. And we'll make sure everybody gets the
Yeah.
links and
We don't
finds
have a link
Kristina.
yet for Breakfast with Bobby, so still working on that. We just decided on our format this morning.
And so where can people find you? Where are you going next? Where will you be?
Okay. Well, this coming weekend, I'm in Wisconsin. I will be in Custer, Wisconsin, which is, I looked at the map because I wasn't sure.
I was going to say I wasn't sure where Custer is either.
Yeah. Hey, Michael. So it's somewhere near Stevens Point. I know that.
Oh, okay.
So that will be on Saturday at the Ellis Inn. And then Sunday, I am at the Wintergreen Conference Center, I think it is.
Okay.
And that's in Wisconsin Dells.
Oh, wow. All right.
Yeah.
So Hopin, are you going to be doing readings or what are you going to be doing?
I will be doing readings. I'm also doing a presentation on Sunday. I forgot what
Nice.
time. 1:30, 11:30. I don't know. I forgot what time. But anyway, the presentation is your energy, preserving energy for paranormal investigators or something like that. I forgot the name of it.
Do you find, speaking of preserving energy for paranormal investigators,
Yes.
do you find yourself getting drained during investigations? Or, because I used to, and I used to feel drained when I gave multiple readings in a day, but I feel like as I'm learning myself and working more within those things, that doesn't happen as regularly.
Yeah, I don't get drained as much as I used to, for sure. After about the second day of nonstop readings,
Oh, yeah.
it's hard to focus. By the end of that day, it's hard to focus. I think as far as paranormal investigations go, it's more, I actually get more drained by the people I'm with if they're not congruent with what we're doing.
I understand that. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not that I understand that because I know Caps is listening. That's not what I meant. I understand that in the aspect of peopling,
Right.
because I am very introverted. I mean, I like to dance. I like to go out and have an epic time, but like twice a year. And I really struggle in continuous socialization. Does that
Mhm.
make sense?
It does.
And so when I'm in situations where I have to really socialize, that's what I find draining.
Yeah. I find it much more draining to be in a crowd than on a stage.
Yeah.
Because on a
Yeah.
stage, I'm separated,
Correct.
It's I'm not like surrounded by people. But that's where we have to learn how to pull our energy in
It is.
and hold our energy in to a close enough space where someone would actually have to be invited to get into your space.
Yes. Yeah. That takes a lot of work. It's
It
so much
does.
easier said than done.
It is, but it gets easier with practice too.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know even in, my current situation where I am working, where it's like, okay, I try to send out like Reiki to the whole space and just
Mhm.
try to, put out calm and,
Mhm.
kind of energy to everybody. And, and that gets tiring because it's
Yeah.
something I'm not in practice of doing.
Right. And there's different ways to do that too. I mean, there have been times where it's like, all right, I have a space to hold, but I
Yeah.
don't have to connect to everybody in that space. I can just put a dome over it,
That's
like an
interesting
energy
thought.
dome. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I don't have to monitor, because when I'm connected to everybody in the room energetically,
Mm-hmm.
like I'm getting constant feedback from everybody
Right.
simultaneously.
Right.
That's a lot. If I can
It
just put like
is.
an energy dome over the room, it's so much
I'm gonna try
easier.
that. I'm glad
So
we had
much
this
easier.
conversation.
Yeah.
I really am.
It really does make it easier, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
It's so much less personally draining.
Yeah, that's very interesting.
Yeah.
Jamie says she gets overstimulated and drained in crowds and on investigations.
I can understand that. I love her
Yeah.
FFS there.
Yes.
Yes. I do too sometimes. It can be a lot, especially now the way that they're doing investigations, like selling tickets to investigations and bringing people
Yeah.
in who have no idea what they're doing, but they
Mhm.
just want to go and experience it. And I have
Right.
nothing against people experiencing it,
Correct.
but when I'm doing a serious investigation, I'm not bringing tourists.
No. And
And I hate to put it that way, but
no, I agree though, because I struggled when I've always been drawn to Gettysburg. And so when
okay.
I went back, I'm from the East Coast. When I went back home over the summer, we went out to Gettysburg and I wasn't there to investigate, but I knew I would end up connecting,
Mhm.
and I'm getting goosebumps just, thinking back to that was so frustrated of the ghost tours and such that they do
Mhm.
because y- you're profiting off of the boo factor and very traumatic incidents. And I mean I struggled with even the soldiers there that were from the South who are like, hey, what did I die for? And then it just
Yeah.
frustrated me knowing that this is a tourist spot
Mhm.
to that extent, because these are people's stories.
Mhm.
And it's
Yeah.
one thing if you want to go and you want to investigate and you want to understand and you want to hear
Right.
those stories, or you're trying to help a family who may not know what they're going through.
Mhm.
But just for shits and giggles, that really got under my skin
That
after
gets
that.
under my skin a lot.
Yeah.
A lot. Hey, Lee, welcome.
I
I just
love
found
it.
out you're on. I
I
love
love
Lee. Lee is one of my favorite people in the whole wide world.
Very
And
very nice.
yeah,
I'm
I
glad she
agree
tuned
with
in.
you. I
Yeah.
agree with you on that. It's and when you go into a place where I was at a Paracon recent in the past year, and I was asked to do a psychic investigation, right? Or do a,
Right.
a paranormal investigation as the psychic. And I'm picking up all this stuff they did not want people to know about.
Right. Then you shouldn't
Well,
bring a
then
psychic in.
then
I'm
you
just
shouldn't
saying.
bring a psychic in. Exactly.
Correct.
So which is really interesting to me. It's
Yeah.
if you want to find out if somebody's real or not and they're going to tell you the truth, I'm not going to go
No.
into any location and play along. I'm
No,
not,
absolutely
because
not. It's
I'm there to serve the spirits.
exactly. And
Mhm.
it's the integrity of that servitude. And that's,
Yes.
the biggest thing to me is I have that relationship with spirit where I give what they're showing me, and
Mhm.
it's just I never want to be viewed as someone who's misrepresented them because they don't
Right.
have a voice,
Right.
right? And
Right.
so it's almost like, being the sign language interpreter.
Mhm.
That's what I am, right?
Yeah.
I'm the person signing. And so I agree with Caps. It's up to the tour to
Yeah.
make the investigation more informative than spooky. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I have to say, like, I took my son and his then girlfriend on a tour. We went for a ghost tour in Salem, Massachusetts.
oh, I want to go there so bad. That's on my
Yeah.
list.
Except that it wasn't a ghost tour at all.
No.
It
Yeah.
was a history tour, and
Yes, absolutely.
it was actually done by a history teacher.
Wow.
So, yeah, and that's fine. I mean, it was interesting, but call it what it is.
Yeah. Well, I think there it's so, and I don't want to go during the busy season because I do want to go
Right.
for the history and that
Mhm.
connection. Um, but yeah, I agree with what you're saying.
Yeah. Just
Yeah.
call it what it is, you know. And I'm just going to throw this out there since I'm chewing on bones right now. One of the things that bugs me the most about those is that apparently only famous people haunt as ghosts.
Yeah, I've noticed some of those with that too,
Yeah.
and it's funny. They're like, "Oh."
Yeah. Yeah.
And I laugh at people too where they're like, "Well, is this place haunted?" And honestly, find me a place without a spirit.
Right.
Anywhere. I mean,
Exactly.
spirits are
Anywhere.
everywhere. And I'm like, find me a place that isn't.
Yeah.
I think we have sensationalized what haunting is, and we expect, that boo factor, that scare factor sometimes.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's a man who's in a closet and just doesn't want to be forgotten,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Exactly. Oh yeah, and everything is demonic. Thank you, Michael Christopher.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Everything is no, everything is not demonic. I mean,
No.
honestly, in over 20 years of doing this professionally, I can honestly say I probably only met one demon.
Right. Right. Yeah. I mean,
One.
but
Yeah.
like I tell my kids, there are people that are jerks. So there's kids that are jerks. I mean, and you have spirits. You had a body when you passed
Mhm.
away,
Yeah.
and that's the persona.
Mhm.
Yeah, I have heard. I've never been on an American Ghost Walk tour, but I have
haven't
heard
either.
that they do a really good job of giving the history and not focusing on the boo factor. So there are
Mhm.
definitely very good tour groups out there.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You might be demonic,
You
Michael.
might be demonic. Yeah, you might be.
You might be. We could vote. We could vote on that. But we've run out of time. This has
Oh my
gone
gosh.
by
Wow.
so quickly, and I always enjoy
Yeah.
really talking to you, and I appreciate you
Likewise.
joining here and just kind of giving people insight for the holidays ahead and a little glimpse into investigating. And I hope guys hop on over, check out one of her podcasts, her books, look her up. Kristina's fantastic.
Thank
So,
you. Thank you.
thank you.
Likewise.
No.
I feel the same way about you.
I appreciate it. You're like, I don't know. I have to say Kristina gives the best hugs. Every time I see you,
Oh,
you just
thanks.
give, I always want like my Kristina hug because you do give the best hugs.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. All right, everybody. I will see you back here in 2 weeks. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Thanks,
Bye,
everyone.
everybody.